a couple years ago. There's a beautiful pool that has one of those, what's it called, when infinity pools, where you go right up to it and then it dives down and all that. So I'll meet you at the infinity pool, okay? I'll meet you at the infinity pool. It'd be so exciting. And of course, in addition to that, when she becomes an emeritus national sales director, which is at 65 years old, they have a program for national sales directors, then she will get a retirement package for 15 years. There will be 60% of her commissions for, the best 3 out of the last 5 years. 60% of that for the next 15 years, even after she stops working. Is that exciting? So she's just giving her family security forever. And it all started with that starter kit right over there. And how long ago was it when we went to that training class at, what was it, the Holiday Inn out in Lakewood Ranch? Is that when it was?
Yes.
When was that?
My director debut was 6 years ago in October, and I started 7 years ago.
In 7 years. How many of you in 7 years you can change your family's life like that in your current position? You know, everyone in Mary Kay, right? All of us in Mary Kay, we can do that. So we want to take our hat off to brand new national sales director. Let's give her a standing ovation. How exciting. And of course, you'll hear more from her because it's going to be exciting. The press, the media, everyone's going to be talking to her and finding out what she's done and all the wonderful things. And you know, I know what her life is going to be because I've lived it. In 1973, I joined Mary Kay, and I do not want to hear from those of you who are not born yet. I'm crystal clear that I know that some of you weren't even around in the world. I get it, but I was. And at 22 years old, I had had several jobs. Have any of you ever had several jobs? Anyone in the room trying to find yourself? Anybody? Well, that was me. You know, I moved to Florida when I was 17 years old, went to college, and I went to college and got my MRS. Do you know what that means? MRS. What's that stand for? Mrs. Met the man of my dreams and got married. Went to college in September and got married in June. And I am a college dropout. I am a college dropout. My husband had orders from Vietnam, and during that time, that was the war. And so we got married, and you know, and I just thought we'd live on love. You know, that sounds, you know, how many of you are innocent like that? You think that's going to work? Yeah, yeah, not so much. But anyway, so that was what I thought, and we lived a lot of different military posts. And then after the military time, my husband got a job in a bank down in Fort Myers, and we moved down to Fort Myers. And I thought I'd continue college, and there was just a major problem. At that time, there was no college down in Fort Myers. There is now, but at that time there was not. And so here I am. We had just had our first baby, and we moved to Fort Myers, and we had gone from military housing, which wasn't the best, but it was free, right? And so we moved to Fort Myers, and we didn't have military housing. We had to rent. And then we had military furniture, and it wasn't the best, but it was free. And then we moved to Fort Myers, and we had to buy furniture. And have any of y'all found yourself in financial desperation? Yeah, that's what happened to us. My husband had the same income that he had as a captain in the Army, as a vice president of a bank, only we just had more expenses, right? And besides that, we had a new baby. And of course, we thought it was so intelligent to have a baby because the military would pay for that. And come to find out, that's not the only expense. Anybody else naive like I was? And so we moved to South Florida, and we started living on credit cards. And my husband worked at a bank, and they would send us credit cards in the mail, and I thought that just meant you could use them. It didn't make any difference. Anybody? Yeah, don't look at me like you don't know, because we lived on credit cards. And so we moved down there, and I got a job as a substitute teacher. I had done enough hours in different other colleges as we were in the military that I could substitute teach. But as a teacher, how many teachers do we have in the room? Yeah, if they're not paid very well, has anybody noticed? One of the most important jobs out there, not paid very well. Well, it's a substitute teacher. What do teachers make today? Substitute teachers, anybody know? Per day? Well, 100 years ago, they made $25 a day. Okay, I think today it's around 75. Is that about right? $75 a day. But what I learned is you don't take home the money. Anybody ever worked for another job where you don't take it all home, right? What happens? You have to pay about a third of that to the government because they use it so well. Then you have to give it to them, right? Do we all agree with that? Not so much. But anyway, so about a third of that goes to Social Security and all the kind of taxes and all that kind of thing. And so, you know, your take home, if you make $75 a day, is about $50, right? And then, if you have child care, because I had that beautiful girl right in the front row, was 14 months old, well, was a little infant when I started, before I started Mary Kay. So you have child care. What's daily child care? What's that cost? How much? No, per day, not per, yeah, per day. Can we say $25 a day would be a really low figure? That means you don't care who took care of her?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that right? You rent your child out to someone else? Is that what you do? Yeah? Okay. So let's just use that as a figure, even though I'm not. Is 25 too low? Should I say 30?
40 to 65.
How much?
It's 40.
40? Okay, I'll say 40. Okay, now here's the deal. Ever worked a job where you knew you made money, but you didn't have any money? So see, as a teacher, $75 sounded great. The government took a third of it. Okay, so there's 50. Paid child care of 40. I got $10. If I have lunch and put gas in the car, haven't made any money. Has anybody ever worked a job like that? Yeah, you're working, you're gone from your family, but there's nothing, you're not getting ahead. So that's what happened to me. I was a teacher, and so I got another job. See, because we just don't know what to do. The world says, go get another job. And I wasn't lazy, so I got another job. I worked at a department store. Have any of you ever worked at a department store? Yeah. What's the first thing they give you? A credit card at the store. Oh, that was really safe with me, right? I wasn't going to use it. Oh, yeah, right. And then when you work at a department store, they give you a discount because you're an employee. Oh, that now was a bargain. Right? I worked for them for 9 months, and when I left, I owed them $900. Okay, so that wasn't so good. But all the whole time I was praying to the Lord. I said, please help me. I'm 22 years old. Is this going to be my life? Is this it? I'm going to be broke forever? Really? I mean, I thought I was smart. You know, I was a good student. I worked hard. I had 2 jobs. Anybody ever felt like that? And so while I was working at this department store, my prayers were answered, only I didn't know. You pray for something, and then when God presents it to you, you go, oh, not that, thank you very much, right? But my friend who worked with me at the department store, she sold Mary Kay on the side. And she said to me, you ought to do what I do. And I said to her, I made up things. You know, when you don't think you want to do something, you don't really think about it, you just make up things, right? Right? I told her I didn't have time. How many of you in this room do not have time? Right, okay. I told her my husband wouldn't let me. Anybody got that one? Yeah? I told her I was too busy. I didn't have the money to buy the starter kit. I made up things all the time. I just was, an excuse a minute. And I want you all who are consultants to pay attention to people like that, because even though they're making up stories that aren't true, they're still desperate for a way to get out of their situation. And I want to tell you what my friend finally did. She booked me for a Mary Kay party. And that's all she said to me. I'm in a contest, and I have to have 5 bookings. And I already have 4. So if you book 1 more, I'll win the prize. Now, how many of you would have helped her out? See, that's what women do. Consultants, look at the hands that are raised. See, learn to be in a contest. Be in a contest. Now, here's the deal. I don't know if she was telling a pink lie. Maybe she wasn't in a contest. I don't know. But I have earned $8 million, and I do not care if she lied to me or not. I really don't care if she was in a contest or not. But she said to me, now, when you have this party, I want it to be a perfect party, so let me tell you how to do that. And all of the hostesses in the room, you probably heard the same thing. She told me to have 6 people around my dining room table. and so I did. She told me to tell everybody they didn't have to buy anything. Don't you love, Mary Kay, that there's no pressure in the sales? You don't have to learn how to sell something. Women don't like to be sold to, so you might as well not ever learn how to be a salesperson. Women love to buy, however. Anyone in the room love to shop? Yeah, so women love to shop. So what a Mary Kay party is just creates an environment where people get to shop. And then the third thing she said to me, just let's make this real simple, just serve coffee, tea, and brownies. Because otherwise I would have had a spread. I couldn't have afforded it, but I would have had cake and tea and cheese and crackers and wine. I mean, I would have spent hundreds of dollars to have this Mary Kay party, and she wouldn't let me. Coffee, tea, and brownies, that's all she would let me do. And she said, I'll bring the brownies. So that was pretty easy. And so guess how many people I had at that party? 6, just like she told me. And I told everybody they didn't have to buy anything. However, when you tell someone they don't have to buy anything, guess what they do? I invited other school teachers that I worked with, and every day in school they told me how broke they were. Anybody work with other coworkers? And what do? Don't you just swap stories? Right? You say, let me tell you how bad things are at my house. I can't afford this, I can't. And the other one says, well, if you think that's bad, let me tell you my story. Is that right? Has it changed? No, it's still the same. And so that's what happened. We just swapped stories. And so, but these people who told me they were flat broke, couldn't buy anything, every one of them started with the skincare system. Every one of them. All of them. They all, I'm not going to buy anything, I can't. Went, ooh, wow, this is awesome. I think I need it. Not I want it. Oh, it just went from want to need. Right? And they all walked out with the entire skincare collection. I was shocked. I was really surprised. And so when I got invited to a meeting like this, I had seen the Mary Kay presentation. I had seen how people who said they had no money would purchase product. But my recruiter never told me how much money she made. She didn't tell me that with my coffee, tea, and brownies, that she put $300 profit in her pocket. I didn't know that our coffee, tea, and brownies were that good. And I didn't know that, the whole time, all she did was for 2 hours, she just said, put this on, take this off, put this on, take this off, put this on, leave it on. My, you look good. And they went, yeah, I do, don't I? And I thought, you've got to be kidding me. This woman has sold all this product. I think maybe I could do this too. And so I came to a meeting just like tonight, and I was scared to death. Anyone in the room thinking about joining Mary Kay and you're scared to death? Absolutely, because we've never done it before. And how will I know if I'm ever going to be good? And here's the deal. You don't know until you try. You'll never know. There's no little, purple sticker on you that, if I kind of go zip and you'll go zip back that I can tell you you'll be good. It's just that you have to give it a try. That's the way it works. And so that night I did join Mary Kay and I bought my $100 starter kit. That kit right over there. The only problem is I didn't have $100. Now back then you could write what was called a warm check. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Because if you're old, you know that you could write it and it took a couple days before it went to the bank. And it wasn't, you know what I'm saying? Now I know those of you today who have those cash cards and it's instant, I feel sorry for you. I now have enough money to cover that, but I didn't back then. But I knew if I wrote the check that my mother-in-law would loan me the money. How many of you know someone, if your child was dying in the hospital, cost you $100 to save your child's life, how many of you know someone who would loan you that $100, even if you don't have it? See, we all know that we could find the $100 if we had to. And I knew my mother-in-law would give me that $100. I had her first grandchild, and she was very happy about that. And I did call her that next day and said I needed $100, and sure enough, she just put it in my account. And so that's how I got started. We had maxed out 6 credit cards. And so my Mary Kay start, it was important to me to try to make this work because teaching school wasn't working. I'd gone to college and done all those things that the world said, that's where you're going to make money. Anybody done that and you can't even get a job? I see people graduate all the time from college. They can't even get a job. They've spent thousands and thousands of dollars for a college education and can't get a job. And yet people say to me, when I offer them the Mary Kay Starter Kit for $100, they say,